Well, good evening, everybody. It's your host, Sergeant Friday. We will have no co-host tonight. Something came up for Cletus, and yeah, he's like a typical hourly wage employee. Comes and goes, shows up. But at least tonight he did call in with a little bit of heads up, so that's kind of good. Training takes time, folks. Training takes time. Let me get into the comments here. So we got Carl in here. Hi, everybody. What's up, Sarge? There, Mikey. Yeah. So let me think. I want to open up my YouTube window. View your channel. Let's see. There we go. I want to bring up the YouTube stream, so I got it in there. And I could turn the volume off so it doesn't reverberate, because that's important. It's important. So what's going on, everyone? I figured the stream of tonight. I didn't really because I had a lot going on today, and so I figured I would make a stream as usual at 9 o'clock, but I have no idea for topics. So I put in there the word how with a question mark, like how do we go about having any effect, or how do we go about starting something that might change the way this internet is dealt with, the way we're exposed to this nonsense that does draw people in like magnets. I mean, there's no doubt about it, especially when you, regardless if it's true crime or politics, the way these people word their titles, the way they lure you in, it's enticing. And really, in all fairness, folks, we don't have many choices of streamers streaming on topics that are highly important, or streaming on solutions that we can all jump around and do something with. Now, I did see some of that with Clue and others in true crime with getting billboards for Sebastian, but because the Sebastian topic got so crazy, they kind of had to keep it to themselves. So it's kind of weird how it ended up having to work out, because there's so many screwball streamers in there, like Dolly and fucking and Butthole Betty and all of these crazy bastards in true crime, and everybody with all these stories and theories and chaos and attacking people that there's no evidence to support their guilt of anything. And this goes on and on and on. The same thing with politics, the accusations, the name calling. Like people ask me if I like Candace Owens or Charlie Kirk or Ben Shapiro, and I really don't. I'm very sick and tired of how they deliver their message. They're always trying to just cut the other people in half, rather than try to, and it's always with transgenders and other things. Now, I know the topics they're talking about are relevant. I know the topics that are being presented, I guess, are important. I don't know. I mean, but in other words, they're self-perpetuating, and they're helping spread, and they're helping keep the discussion going on topics that have done nothing to help this globe, help us as a people, except divide us. That's all it's done. And if you notice, that's what most of your streamers are doing. They're dividing everybody. They're coming up with topics or opinions or things that are just going to continue to divide you, rather than dealing with the facts of what matter and moving on to other topics that might matter, or coming through with facts that maybe we can all do something to work on as a group to change something. You don't see any of that. And to me, I guess my question is, how the hell do we get around to doing that? Well, I don't worry about that so much, Heidi. People are used to him, and it's not even that I don't even know how much of a long-term distant change that's going to make. Because again, he's only going to have 4 years, and then you gotta hope that we support that JD Vance, and so how all that goes is one thing, but here's the other thing. It doesn't really matter who's elected if we all started to do things that mattered, rather than waste all our time in these clickbait fucking channels with 3 shooters and 2 shooters and water towers, and Chris is this and Seth is that, and Koberger this and Koberger that, and Banfield this and Banfield that, and fucking blah, and it's never fucking ending. Where you get the Charlie Kirks and the fucking Ben Shapiros, they want to show you how they can outsmart all of these generational Z's that don't know what gender they are. They've been programmed into confusion, and they believe the confusion because that's what they've been told to believe. And so you're going to keep putting these people under the spotlight, and you're going to keep making that a relevant topic. Let it fucking go. I mean, an adult would let it go. What are you going to do? I mean, that's some of the problem we have with addiction. People don't know when to let people go. People can't hit bottom if you keep, oh my God, oh, she's this and she's going to, this could happen. You know, when people become of age and they start making these decisions in their life, you just got to let it go, man. Quit giving them the attention that behavior is actually speaking for. It's begging for your attention. And that's why I don't like Charlie Kirk, and I don't like Candace Owens, and I don't like many of these talking heads, because there's conversations that just don't have any fuck. They dominate the fucking globe, and they're the stupidest fucking conversations in the world. I really don't care what gender you consider yourself to be. I don't need to know it. I don't want to know it. Live your life the way you want to live your life. Don't demand that I have to be part of your fucking view of the world. I'm not demanding you view Christ or Buddha, right? And yet, this is what I mean when I say we are the propagandists against ourselves. We hurt ourselves more than what those people's message is, because all we do is engage those messages, even if it's in ridicule. But most often people do it like Ben Shapiro does it, just to show you how fucking smart he is. Right? Well, ask Ben Shapiro to fucking take a transmission out of your fucking car, change the rear end gears in the car. Ask him to do that. Let's see how fucking smart this guy really is. You know, he's like most of these talking heads. They're basically helpless fucking men, for the most part, folks, that don't have any of that knowledge, any of that information, or any of that concern. They just want to come out and keep the propaganda fucking buzz going. And that goes for Dan Bongino, goes for all of them. Your congressmen do it to you. But how can we change that cycle? How can we get our 2 cents, or anybody's 2 cents in this chat room, or anybody that has common sense? How can they get other people to start looking at that? Look, I mean, I just think that we can be much more effective ourselves than anybody you elect. That's the point I keep trying to remind people about. You know, you have the First Amendment, and you have other amendments that aren't your rights. Those aren't rights granted you. You don't have a right to free speech. The government has no right to infringe. It's a limit. That to me, if the distinction is massive, and yet somehow we continue, and we've been convinced to call these constitutional rights as if they were given to us by government. And it's exactly the opposite. We, the people, granted you the ability to exist. And while you're going to exist, you're going to obey these limits. That's what the Constitution is. It's got nothing to do with you or me individually having a particular right or not. It's got everything to do with telling the government, this is how you'll behave. This is how you'll interact with us. This is the respect you're going to give us. You see the difference, folks? And viewing it as a right, or viewing it from the perspective of truth. And yet, where are the streams talking about that? Going into these different communities and reminding people, okay, that's what that document is. That document isn't somebody gave me permission to own a gun. We told the government, go fuck yourself. We're going to own guns whether you like it or not. And you shall not infringe. You shall not infringe, Mr. Government. That's what the Second Amendment says. That's what the Constitution's about. It's about government limits on how they can interact with us, where the line in the fucking sand is. And we've been taught to, and trained, and consider that document is a list of my rights, and it's not. You do not have a constitutional right. You do not have any right granted you other than the right that comes with just being alive, which is complete freedom. That's what's bestowed upon you at the moment of birth. That's what this country believes. And a lot of people think that document needs to be changed. And for all the people that think that document needs to be changed, they don't seem to understand what looking forward means, what working towards a goal means, what enforcing rules mean. And that's what that document is there for us to abide by it as well, by enforcing it against the entity that's breaking it or crossing it. You see, we are supposed to be, and it doesn't now. That's why you have a representative government. That's why you don't have a direct democracy. That's why you have an electoral college. That's why you have a president in different areas of law and supreme. The whole system is designed. But just beware, folks, that even the existence of the Supreme Court, everything is in place to keep the government in check. That's our job. That is our job. Now, yes, you do elect officials to do that job for you, but clearly they're not doing that fucking job. And they've turned us all into a bunch of fucking zoo animals, talking about transgenderism, talking about fucking everything that really, when you boil it right down, how many could there be? Leave them alone. Yeah, they shouldn't be in sports. They shouldn't be in this. You're right. There's an issue there. But is it really the most important issue? And must we spend all our time on that and not talking about the rail line that Russia is going to build to Iran and not discuss the fact that India just told Iran that they'll put the money up for them to build a shipyard and a port where that Russian railroad will end? Should we not be discussing that and understanding how we got to this place? Of course we should. Because we should never allow our government to get the control over our brains the way they have. Every single one of these topics you're seeing, and that's why I keep saying, folks, and I'm so critical of other YouTubers, you just don't even understand that you're conspirizing is exactly what they want us to do, so we don't pay attention to them. It's almost criminal that we've allowed ourselves to mimic and do all of these insane things that they further no narrative except the narrative of keeping our fucking mind off the fucking focus off of what really matters. They throw out global warming. They throw out all of these fucking things that you know are just ridiculous. They're so ridiculous, and yet we spend so much time stuck in the fucking discussion of those topics. So much time that when we get out of that fucking charade and we jump onto a YouTube channel, you suddenly got people making accusations that there's a boy being pissed on by 3 other youths in a parking lot on Linda Lane under that camera in the Idaho 4. This person's screaming and yelling. I got a copy of the video. I cut it out. Almost like he was losing his mind. We know what you did. And that's the kind of fucking insanity that just continues to go all over. How about the people with the multiple shooters in the Trump shooting? Why do people even got to entertain or go down that road? Why is it when it's more than obvious that there was one shooter, more than obvious, and fair-minded people would see that? Why aren't they going back and asking that guy, how did you come up with that crazy fucking theory? You're supposed to, your credentials that you sold me before you told me about the water tower were your credentials in 38 years in the service and in sniper and in security and in special details. All of those fucking things you told me about yourself to tell me there was a man on the water tower. And that's not true, folks. And what do you want to bet that guy gained followers? How do we allow ourselves to get caught up in such fucking stupidity? It's fucking amazing. I'm just fucking stunned. Does any of this, listen, does this particular direction of conversation make sense to anybody? Say 1 if you can in the chat room. And if not, say 2 in the chat room. Or say yes or say no. I'll hold here for a second, light a cigarette. Since I don't have a co-host to interact with, you people in the chat room's got to stand the fuck up. Let's hear it. Let me go over to X. What is X saying? X is saying, with 10 viewers in there, X might speak up, although it won't show across any other platform. But if you have something to say, you better bring your ass and say something. This is on YouTube. It's on YouTube, it's on Rumble, and it's on X. Well, another important thing that's happened in the election, have you guys, what is your YouTube channel? My YouTube channel is Your Ass Hurts News Network. Let me see if I can get a link I can share. Let me see here. Copy. Let's see if this goes in. Here it goes. That thing better post it, not call it spam. I suppose because I run the channel. I suppose that link came through. Let me know if it didn't come through, but I think it did. This anyway, folks. Just so with the topic of how, I think it's important that we start to really ask ourselves, what the hell are we doing? And how are we going to stop what we're doing with all this nonsense? Because we're really being distracted and entertaining ourselves into actual destruction. We've lost 7 embassies around the world, and people don't even realize what an embassy is. An embassy is where you have sovereign U.S. territory within a foreign country. Even during the fucking Cold War, Russians had an embassy here. Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty good explanation. I just heard you post on X. Let's see here. There she is. What's up? What's up? So I'm going to paste it. I don't know if X will let me paste it. So I did paste it right there, Mike. But it is Your Ass Hurts News Network. If you want to just come into YouTube and in the search bar there. Right, just folks. This is why I get so people. Maybe it is a tint of anger when I go off on some of these rants and some of these streamers because it's an absolute incredible distractive waste of fucking time. And meanwhile, everything is falling down around our ears. I mean, I'm not the only guy out there yelling the sky is falling. We all agree the sky is fucking falling. And yet we retreat into these streamers that have fucking witnesses in the Koberger case now. They got fucking testimony. They're predicting who's going to do this and who's going to do that. You got people running around saying the murder was televised on fucking phones. It was Snapchatted across phones. 400 people watched it. You got fucking shadows and fucking noises and bells and whistles and fucking dogs barking. And not a one of them fucking things has anything to fucking do with the case at hand within the court system as we know it. and yet we flock to that. We flock to the harshes. And these people are more than capable, folks, of actually bringing information forward and sharing things, whether it be true crime, whether it be auto mechanics, whether it be medical, whether it be political, whether it be scientific. There's an awful lot of shit that could be brought forward for the public to engage in. Some of it interesting, some of it fucking boring, but pick your choice. But it's better than bring it to me. It makes more sense to try to do that than it would be to come up with some other conspiracy theory about the Idaho 4. Right? People are bringing in trucks. They're bringing in the fuck. One jerk off brought in a parachutist. What was his name there? That Click Clock, whatever his name is. I can't stand that guy. I'm just kind of shocked. And the same thing, like when you watch X, you just watch the stream on X. It's absolutely fucking incredible. Some of the stuff that comes across there. It's just ludicrous and insane. And you're bantering and butting heads with people that you should probably not even be butting heads with because they're not worth the time of your fucking day. Your day's more important than that. My day's more important than listening to another fucking theory of paparazzi or that Jay Ombre that came out of nowhere. I don't know, and I don't really give a fuck what his ideas and theories are. I just want to know how the court case is proceeding. Have rulings been made? Has the documents we've been given and shown in the testimony? Keep current on that. And there's really not much more you can do with that case. But to sit around and debate it like these people have debated it for 2 years, enough is enough, man. The same thing. I mean, like for me, I said right in the very beginning with the Trump shooting that this was going to happen, and then what we're supposed to be focusing on is, and I think there's a stream that records this. We're supposed to be focusing on a security plan, the people in charge, who gave the orders and who determined where these people were going to be placed to protect a former president, whether you like the guy or not. Those are fucking questions that need to be answered and asked. The people that are responsible for those decisions need to be questioned. They need to step up for their decisions. And if they're inadequate, they need to be terminated at the very least. Right? If you want to get conspiratorial, you can either be left with the question or the question need be asked. Were these mistakes or were these intentional lapses in the security? There's a lot of stuff that should be asked. And there's a lot of stuff that we should be getting answers for. And instead, people are paying attention to some crazy conspiracy theories on that case as well. Never really bearing down. And again, sending letters to the congressman, not just the ones that agree with you, but the ones that disagree with you. If anyone can't figure out they're male or female, only been time for eternity. Right, but why does that even got to be my point is, Carl, that's exactly right. So let's, all these kids that are screaming and want attention, want to put a microphone, and the first thing they're going to talk about is their gender. You just tune it out. You don't make a comment, you don't respond to it, you don't engage with it, and it goes away. And that's the irony is the way we've been brainwashed is so easily reversible that it's almost shocking. It's almost like, have you guys ever played that game, do the opposite? It's almost that simple. Just do the opposite of what was being and I mean it, especially with streamers. I all these people, they got all this fucking information that they come up, I'm a lawyer, I was a sniper, I was this, I was that. To me, folks, the beginning of a con job is earning your trust. That's the beginning of every con job. And so every one of these people that are out here are doing exactly that. That's the con. The con is getting you to trust them and like them. And then they go off on all these different tangents and all these different topics that really, if you sit down and really thought about what it was you were watching, you'd probably say, well, I could sit home and come up with 800 different ways this crime could have been committed. I don't even know why would I do that. I mean, just think about that, folks. Is that what you're thinking about at home? If you didn't have YouTube, would you be conspiring in your own head about fucking Brian Koberger or doing something productive or something else? I suspect you'd be doing something else, right? Yeah, video games, yeah, that counts. Go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that. I mean, it's at least you're not spreading the propaganda of the propagandists, right? Now, here's another reason why I brought that up. Okay, but they asked Sergeant at ER, new document, what are your pronouns? Bitch. Yeah, I just say I don't even know what you're talking about. I didn't go to that school. You know, I just said I don't participate in that kind of school. And I'm a dude. If you want to see my dick, you can just ask. That's what I did with my mask. I wore it on top of my head, and if anybody said anything, I said I was Jewish. That I'm Jewish. That's my yarmulke, and off I'd go. I don't give a fuck. What do you do? Throw me in jail? Anyway, where was I don't know. I guess expressing how nice it would be if we all just decided to tell our folks, the people we're around, the streams we visit, to try to keep with just the facts and bring up more relevant topics, more relevant children that are missing. Stop coming to conclusions and attacking people and accusing people that aren't even named in the fucking filings of anything, like the Proudfoots or like any of the people in the Idaho 4. None of the people that they're bringing up from the outside are even named in any of the official documents in any way, shape, or form. None. You don't have any discussion about the Banfield boys in any of the court filings, in any of the police filings. Nothing. Nothing. So, at least you could say, at the very least, the Linda Lane tape tries to give you the observation of a Hyundai Elantra. So it does have some form of relevance. Although I said when that first came out, and you guys go ask Dago, he'll tell you. I said that shit's going to be the biggest waste of time and blow this place apart. And that's exactly what ended up happening with that Linda. To this very day, that argument is still prevalently made out here. So I have never been asked that before. It must be just a no. I love bigots. They get my attention. None of that weird stuff. Go get a physical, Sarge. You should have them anyway. What the hell are you talking about? Talking about local emergency room or urgent care doctor. Yeah. No, I know they do. Listen, and I like I say, I have a problem that I need an app to get my 99-cent hamburger for 99 cents because that's what it's coming to. And in order to get that app, you got to know and have access to everything I do wherever I go with this phone and anything I have on that phone, folks. I mean, my phone is not used at all. There's no apps on my phone. Fuck Facebook, fuck X, fuck them all. None of them are on my phone. My phone is a phone. And if I text, it's very limited to a friend or two, but mainly all business related. Fuck that fucking thing you got to have in your pocket all day and you're going to have people. Nah. I can't even stand using these social media platforms. I was on Facebook the other day and a client asked me something about financing and I replied. And all of a sudden, my Facebook feed starts filling up with all of these bank offers. It's like, what the fuck? I can't even have a direct private message with a customer without fucking Facebook knowing and knowing what the topic is. That's just completely not okay with me. And yet, I guarantee you that it isn't okay with you folks either. And we just don't, for whatever reason. I mean, these other streamers and other people that are watching these things, like that kid Aiden did a great interview with Trump. That kid's in a position where maybe he could start people to start taking these positions because they're not radical when you say you change these user agreements. Start protecting my identity. Right? Start getting some of your fucking your protections put back. Don't sign them away. And if they say you got to pay to use their service, then you just don't use their service. I mean, that's the best thing is we really can't lose if we work together as a group. What are these providers of social media going to do? You think people are going to pay $10, $20 a month to be on Facebook? Come on, man. And look at, I'd rather you be upfront as a business and your business model requires me to make it requires me to make a decision on how I'm going to spend my money. Now, I wouldn't object to websites being that way at all. I wouldn't complain at all because then I would go to the websites that I chose to go to, including gaming sites or wherever the hell you go. And if there's a nominal fee or there's a fee to be a part of it, fantastic. Sell your product like someone else sells your product on a fucking shelf. Don't give me a user agreement that completely surrendered all the freedoms I have as an American to your fucking corporation so you can stalk me, follow me, listen to me, and target me. No, go fuck yourself. Because then one of your board of directors gets caught sleeping with a fucking kid, the government can come in through your corporation and get my information without even me knowing. This shit needs to stop. It needs to stop. We as the people. We as the, not just because I wish Trump would bring this issue up or one of these candidates would bring this issue up. You guys have no idea the threat that this gives us as a people. Imagine a foreign power that wanted to do damage. Could time it exactly where the most people were in the location that they wanted to do it because they had access to all of this data. And in some cases, even real time, David. I mean, it's always got to be real time when you think about it. All of these apps reporting to all of these fucking companies, it's got to be happening in real time. Just imagine the wrong people getting a hold of that, man. I mean, that's the worst case scenario. But the other irritation is who needs all of these people tracking everything I do and everywhere I go? I don't understand how we don't, as a group, how people all over the fucking internet aren't screaming about it. Fuck now, for the last ever since it started. We act like, well, they're a business and, they can do that. Yeah, they can do that, but you're a fucking consumer and you could say no. Right? You could say fucking no. Where's my choice to say no? Right? You know what I mean? It's kind of sad. It's almost like that story where those kids go through the woods and they go to that witch's house to eat all of that candy so she could fatten them up and cook them. Okay? That's exactly what's happening to us with all of this entertainment. I mean, I don't, man, folks, it's crazy. Hey, look, I'm going to tell you something, and I want you guys to think about this, especially if you're younger in here. But I want you to think about this. For most of us, not all of us, but for a vast, vast majority of us, we're going to work our entire lives and retire and hopefully, or most certainly, have a period of time where you don't have to work before you die. That's basically how this works, right? In this country, though, it doesn't have to work that way. You can actually create your own employment here. And you could create your own employment based on your own desires of how you want it to be. I've been able to do that. I'm not the only person that's been able to do that. I could have went in many different directions by doing what I do. Okay, with the skill set that I have. One of them could have been all for the money, all for the money, all for the money, as much as I can get on, and I could have invested all of my fucking time and effort, and I would have been, and I know I'm very successful now. But what I chose to do though is in a small business is set it up so that I had to work as little as possible and still get a middle to upper middle class income. That was my goal. And I attained that goal and been living like that now for God, decades. Okay. You can't really do that anywhere else. That's why, like, to me, that's what we're losing. We're losing the ability to do something similar to what I'm explaining for the younger generations and for even people today. And we're losing it because we're not paying attention to it. We're not trying to hold to account the government and put the brakes on. Listen, asshole, you're using all of these different, look what Google just did to a Trump search. I tried to search images of Trump being shot and stuff about Kamala Harris came up on the page. That's insane. That's insane. It's absolutely insane, folks. And what are we doing? We know they do it. There's reports that they did it. And what do we do as a people? Nothing. What we should be doing is we should all be deleting Google. That's what we should be doing. And learning a new operating system would take all of about a couple of fucking minutes, right? That's really what, and there should be somebody like that young kid, Aiden, not or someone with a whole bunch of followers, or even a combination of all of these streamers and true crime and politics, all start to say, why aren't we deleting Google, folks? Right? And in the process of making that argument, say, I guess DuckDuckGo protects your privacy. I guess they have the kind of user agreement that I'm talking about. I don't know. I'd have to look, but that's what I've been given information to consider to be. They're telling me that's true. Okay, so I don't know it to be a fact, but there are other ways to browse the internet, and DuckDuckGo seems like a very, very simple change. And what did Google suffer as a result of doing what they did? Nothing. And who were they supposed to suffer it from? Trump? The government? Who's going to hold them to account? Clearly not us. For whatever reason, we're either too inept or too blinded and brainwashed to even give that a second fucking thought. As a matter of fact, we're so inept and so brainwashed that I'm stunned that there isn't some person out here with a voice collecting fucking heads for those heads to start doing those things in mass and drag all the rest of us with them. I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. And I'm not saying that because I'm out here saying what I've been saying. I'm surprised it hasn't been in place for years. Because there's nothing different about the internet today than when I got off it 4 years ago. There just isn't. It's the same bullshit, the same propagandizing, the same arguing about the propaganda, the same ignoring of facts and reality, and nobody actually taking a stand against any single corporate fucking criminal. There's nobody out there doing it. And there's people with tens of millions of followers that would be instantly fucking successful doing that. Because guess what? That's all we need, folks. Just one of them. Maybe one of you in here. Maybe you know somebody. I don't know with a few hundred users every day that come in here and watch if there's any strength other than me to just fucking keep pointing it out. I mean, because that's exactly what's going to happen if it hasn't happened already. I know I sound like a broken record, but the fact of the matter is, it's us, we the fucking people, that need to stand together and do something. I don't give a fuck if you think you're 88,000 genders. Okay, your privacy should be protected, whether you know it or not. I know enough to know that that's true, right? I know enough to know that that's true, that particular point actually helps us all. That's why it was in the Constitution, okay? And the idea that the business isn't held to the standard of the Constitution, I completely understand that. I find that to be absolutely fair. So the only stopgap then becomes when you have no government, which is what legal action is, government intervention capability, right? When you don't have that, when your government isn't willing to pass laws to protect your individual identities with these websites, right? With these user agreements, when your representatives are unwilling to address that issue, then it's up to us to address that issue. That's what the world needs, and I'm not looking, and I don't even need to say it. That I just hope and pray that that does happen. Whether people flock to me or don't, I'm not. It's this message though that more and more of us need to be start pointing this out, especially if we got streamers that we appreciate. Because this conversation I had with every single person you saw me on panel with, and I don't think there's a single person that I was on a panel with that won't tell you that I've been saying this since I've been around in true crime. Okay. I started saying this when I left 4 years ago. You're not going to take over my space. I will call. I don't know what that means. That's what I'm going to do. Maybe we're confused. Maybe I'm. Let's just move forward. What is it? What's going on, Gray? I missed somebody's messages. I will leave right now and get the timestamp. It was about Male TV. What do you guys? I don't even know what you're talking about. You're talking about Savage? They need to hear what you have to say. It's important. No, they need to hear what you guys have to say. Because this is how this works, folks. It's not what Sarge has to say. If you listen, I completely accept. If you guys think what I'm pointing out is nuts, I completely accept that. If you think what I'm sharing is valuable and makes sense, then you should be sharing that to people you know. That's how the social media connections are supposed to work, right? No, and so that's where the strength of numbers comes in, and that's where the message of taking action. I mean, you guys keep seeing all these receipts for all these illegal immigrants, right? And all the money they got on food stamps and all the cash voucher money they got. You've seen that. You know they're being stuck in hotels that could be as much as $600 a day, right? And like I said, I'll help finance it. But there's streamers out there. Why isn't there a petition for the government to account and tell us exactly what they're spending? Why isn't anybody demanding an audit of what these illegal immigrants are costing the country? Why isn't Trump asking for that? He's our representative, but since you don't have a representative asking that question, I guarantee not one of you find that to be an illegitimate question. It's an extremely relevant question. How much are all of these illegal immigrants that came through? How much taxpayer dollar is going into feeding them and housing them and educating them and giving them health care? How much? Where's the audit for that? That's what I mean when I say I don't think any one politician or any group of politicians you put in there are going to be any more effective than what we've had for all of these years until we, the people, start putting up things that are visible for all. Reasonable questions that incite no violence and simply ask questions that are there that need to be asked. Because there's no other way to hold people accountable than to demand they ask a question. You answer a question. How much money in total per year are state, local, and federal governments putting into the illegal immigration issue? What is it costing us, including so-called enforcement at the border? How many hundreds of billions of dollars is this costing us? That needs to be answered. Where's Tucker Carlson getting his crew and his people to demand that kind of a question? Sometimes he does, don't get me wrong. And I notice sometimes Bill O'Reilly does, but they don't stick with it. They don't stick with it. And they work with it and actually set up a system for that question to become something that people sign their name to, right? Your first name or your initials, and millions of signatures. We need this information. Demand it. People are going to pay attention. You send it off to all these representatives. You send it off to the president. You send it off to the mayor, to the governor, to the commissioner, and these people need to be able to explain to me where all this money is going. That's all, right? And the idea, well, you just want to kick them out. No, you don't debate those arguments because they're going to throw all that shit at you. Hang on one second. I do got a call. Sorry about that, folks. Sorry about that. No, I'm here. I just had to take that call. It's business. And sometimes people call me late for business. I don't have a cell phone. Carl, I do have the cell phone. I need it for business. I can't help it. Anyway, folks, that's really to me the power that we have at our fingertips. It's almost like we're children playing with a gun and people are getting shot and wounded. And nobody's actually saying, wait a minute. You can play with it, but take the bullets out of it. Right? You could still play on the internet. You could still get your entertainment. You could still accomplish a whole bunch, a lot of shit. You still stay informed on all the cases you're interested in. But not in the manner that we see it being done. Not in the manner of politics like Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk. And I'm so tired of those people going up to colleges and trying to just show the same thing over and over again with the same fucking topics, man. I'm tired of it. They're arguing about the social, arguing about that. There's so many better things to talk about that actually matter. That if they got more attention, the people that you're giving the attention to now are going to have nothing to listen to but the content you're putting out. That's the other thing, folks. If all of a sudden you woke up tomorrow morning, right? I'll give you an example. Imagine if you woke up tomorrow morning and you all had to be part of like you wake up in parts of the Arab world. And all of that singing for the church goes on every day. You got to do with that. You got to pray all the time. You got to follow all these rules. That's where we're headed. Just imagine if you have to wake up under those circumstances. That's where we're going. And I really don't really discuss people's personal issues or make those topics. Your color, your fucking background, none of that stuff is relevant to the condition of mankind as we know it. Listen, it's personal to you. But I'm not going to object or interfere or have anything to do with it, right? And that's how freedom works, man. So, could you have a few minutes? We like the way you think. What did Carl say now? He's considered what? What are you considering doing? Carl must have done something bad. What'd you do? Not when I'm driving. No worries. Let's see. Trying to follow you, Carl. 12 gauge is in here. I didn't see 12 gauge. Are you in here, 12 gauge? I don't see him in here. Oh, where the hell are you, 12 gauge? Are you there? I got to go into YouTube and see if you're still there. I've had internet actions that apparently have slowed the machine down here. I don't get it. There it is. At 1, 2. Oh, I don't show you in here. Oh, he left. Oh, okay. I'm considering taking over the flat Earth. I think you should, Carl. Listen, I want to make you. I don't even know what. I don't think king is a big enough title. We need you. You need like emperor of the flat Earth, Carl Ferguson. All rise. I think that's perfect. I nominate you for that, and I think that if you're going to have a successful empire, emperor, you might want to consider Twizzlestick as part of your ruling class. I think. What do you guys think, Carl Ferguson, Emperor Ferguson? And we can call him. I don't know what we can call Twizzlestick. Or he wants to be called Lord Badass. That's it. All right. Well, Lord Badass of the Flat Earth. What will we call it? What will we call Twizzlestick? Court Jester. I know he's not in here tonight, but maybe he'll hear this or it'll get back to his ear and he'll have a laugh with us. No, Megs. He's all on his own now. It's Round Carl. Is she suggesting you're an overweight male, Carl? What's going on with that? Round Carl. Well, a flat Earth. Round Carl, leader of flat Earth. That's perfect. Megs, you're a genius. I'm voting for Carl. Round Carl of flat Earth. Absolutely fucking epic. I think that fits you well. You know something that Carl, consider yourself a shoo-in. You got that position. Round Carl of Flat Earth. And we come in peace. Holy shit, Round Carl. Oh Lord, oh Lord. It is what it is, though, and it isn't even a contradiction. It's interesting. Well, maybe Carl looks like the Kool-Aid man, all head and just a pair of legs. I don't know. Round Carl. That's going to be an interesting image, Carl. Megs has volunteered to be your photographer. Stella Moore. CL, CI, I forget what it is. And what else have we got going on here? What the hell time is it? Oh, we got a few more minutes to go. It's hard to talk up a whole hour. There's a lot of crazy shit going on out there. You see where now Kamala's getting outed by these streamers? Has anybody seen that? These streamers are coming forward saying she's offering to pay these people to promote her. And she's paying, actors $20,000 or entertainers 20 grand to come to these events. Have you guys seen that? It's incredible. And there's been people saying this for years. I've been saying that for a long time. And then there's not only that they're paying them, but they're also, yeah, this is absolutely true, Heidi. There's a whole bunch of streamers. There's a black dude. There's some white. There's some chick that was doing it for Biden's pushing their propaganda. She admits it, being paid. Yeah, there's a bunch of guys that have come out and they're like, hell no. What are these people doing? We don't do politics. One guy, even one guy, you know what? I think I saved it. Hang on. This is, I'm glad that I brought this up. Maybe this was it destined to be. Hang on a second here. Let me go into my bookmarks. More. Bookmarks. Wait a minute. What are they doing here? They're jerking me around. All bookmarks, yeah. No, I don't have it here. I don't have it in here. But there's a streamer, a very well-known streamer. He's got 2 channels, one with 400,000 or 500,000. And he's got another one with over, with several million. And he's this younger white kid. And he actually played them to see, because he said he wouldn't do politics. He's not interested. And he goes, and it would take more than the $1,500. And they were like, well, exactly how much would it take for him to be pro-democratic and to put out pro-democrat fucking information? And he sent back 50 grand and they were like, okay. And he took those communications and put them on the internet to prove that he ain't talking shit. That the Democratic Party, they're those PACs, if you guys ever heard of a PAC, that's what they're doing. They're paying social media people and people that are famous or are well-known, influencers and even entertainers, and they're paying them directly to come forward and support the Democratic Party. That's just fucked up. That's not grassroots support. That's not even support at all. But they're going to try to convince their viewers. In other words, they're paying people to sell a message, to gaslight people. And that's what those that's one of the biggest things I saw. The biggest mistake with the Supreme Court was that one ruling they made when it came to corporations being considered, given the right for the corporations to put all this money into politics. Yeah, I find that to be that's the worst ruling of the judges on that court right now. That needs to be reversed. That's where all these 501c3s come out, these fucking NGOs, non-governmental organizations. And yeah. Yeah, those fans will follow and vote for them like that. It's and the sad thing is these issues are currently out there, and yet we're going to get caught up on some other stupid ass topics. What's trending over here? Let me see what's trending on Twitter right now. It doesn't even tell me. Where did I find fucking trending? Where's trending? Live on X. I don't even know. It's just a bunch of bullshit. Me Yeah, that's some of the bullshit out there, including me on X. Yikes! I support the middle finger. I support that too. Right, and these important issues that should just be blowing up, get caught off in the fucking mix. And yet, even though the issues are, what should we do about that? Right? Right? What we should be doing is questioning every single person that has influence, every single person with influence. They all need to be questioned. How much are you being paid to say the things you're saying? How much you being paid, Whoopi Goldberg? How much you being paid on the View? How much the Democratic National or these 50 whatever C fucking fours? How much are they paying you to be the way you are you getting paid, Robert De Niro? Those are legitimate, honest to God fucking questions, folks. How about your news media people? How much are you people getting paid? You know, that's the funny thing. I see a lot of poor Democrats, but I don't ever see any poor Democrat that's in with the Democratic Party. Anybody ever see a poor Democrat that's in with the Democratic Party that's black? Anybody ever see that? Why is it the blacks that are in with the Democratic Party are never fucking broke? And they all live in fucking houses that are worth more money than the fucking neighborhood they're fucking elected by. When have you ever seen that? That's a good question black people need to be asked. Why is it Maxine Waters does so good and not you? Why? Why are they pulling all those jobs and businesses, manufacturers? Why do they pull them all out of your cities? Why do they turn your schools into a sexual grooming fucking center? Why? And yet those people, whether they're mayors and they're governors, they all doing the same thing. There's a mayor. I was seeing a clip earlier of a mayor in a small town. I think it was on. There's one of the lawyers I watch, and this mayor, she had leases for 5 vehicles that were like going to be a total of $700,000 over 5 years in this town. Bankrupted the town. They're laying people off, and they're going to have to fire people because by the end of September there is no money to make payroll. Right, and this obviously not a rich town. Obviously, blacks elected her for being black, and now she just robbed the town of all its money. Why? Because we've been like fucking, even on our side, we've been programmed to vote based on certain fucking keywords and certain key fucking points. And meanwhile, all the facts, the actual reality that we're being surrounded by, and we are literally surrounded by a reality that we can't change by talking about transgenderism. I fucking promise you that. The reality that these people have created, what they've done to shit this country into the dirt like they have, is absolutely fucking incredible. And you could track all this right back to your corporations. And then you could track all that right back to me and you, because we never fucking stepped up or demanded these corporations behave with a level of fairness and decency to humanity. I don't want your fucking battery, okay? If I got to put 40 million people in fucking chains, just don't. That's such a relevant topic. That means, I mean, you guys are talking about reparations. Who's going to repair these fucking people that are currently enslaved? I mean, you have the land of opportunity over here. You spend more time recreating than most of the people in the fucking worlds that are being enslaved have recreating their whole fucking life. And that goes for all of us: black, white, fucking green, purple. You're worried about reparations here for what ancestors that they weren't mine. My people weren't here then. My family, they came here after the fucking depression. But anyway, my point is, you're so fucking worried about slavery. The real topic should be the slaves that are in current day fucking earth. That's what it should be. Let's get over the fucking past. It's over. It's done. No, let's not deal with that fucking truth or that reality. Let's keep the black man pissed off because white man fucking enslaved them. And then I've seen videos recently. A lot of black folks are sharing this with other black folks, and they're saying whites were enslaved too. And they're showing them proof. Barbary pirates. And so, again, the process is going, but it's going slow because it's just pockets. Like here, this is a small stream, pockets. Even if a stream's got 10,000 or 20,000 viewers, that's a very small pocket when you consider there's 5.62 billion fucking people out here. Like that guy that Trump with, I think he got 100 million views or more or something, or some crazy amount of exposure because of the platforms he's on. And he interviewed Trump, that Aiden, that young kid. So the power of the internet is here. It's there. It's everywhere. So we got a minute left. What do we got? Yeah, that's okay, Megs. We all are one. And we're all that word. Don't let that word bother you. I'm one, you're one. It got nothing to do with skin color. It's got the way that your fucking government and the corporation fucking controllers treat you. No, I know Trump did a lot of good things and decent things. Don't get me wrong. But imagine if we added to that as a group and really started paying attention to this stuff. What about all these kids that go missing at the border and women and children? I mean, let's talk about the cost and human lives that open border. Not to mention, obviously, I already brought up the money, but that whole issue, the whole inhumanity of it, and the Democrats are arguing how humane it is. Well, is it humane that we all starve to death? Well, where's the humanity in that? Why should we all starve to death? I'm sorry, but the world, unfortunately, nature picks winners and losers. That's just the way it is. Wildlife, vegetation, animals, insects, winners and losers. It's just the natural way of things, right? And you want to mitigate and prevent people from being losers, right? But you can't destroy America and expect us to go down with a ship that if you'd left the ship alone and followed the fucking rules, the benefit we would provide to the earth and as a whole, you wouldn't have a Venezuela and places like that all fucked up right now. You just wouldn't have it because they don't have a nation that's leading either. Our country's not a leader in anything anymore. Not our ideas, not our philosophies, not our arguments. None of them are about being leaders because we've been fucking brainwashed to avoid those topics. We've been brainwashed to keep our eyes off it. But you don't need to reason with insanity. You need to stand up as a group and demand. Like I keep saying, start with user agreements. You need to go after these corporations. You literally need to go after them. You need to dig into their board of directors, see where their money is being donated. Follow the fucking money. Follow these people that are in charge of these corporations. Put them on blast. Demand they change user agreements. Demand they do other things that are consistent with a free country. I mean, we are the fucking government. Corporation can't, just because a corporation can't be bound legally to the constitutional limits, that's, of course they can't. You can't use the Constitution to hurt or to prevent other Americans from speaking now, can you? The government can't come in and infringe upon that, and you can't force other people not to speak either. So, although a corporation can ask you to provide them with all of your personal private data, they make it mandatory on these user agreements, right? It's all part of their user agreement. You're going to agree, and then you're going to be able to use my product. And we should agree together that, yeah, sure, go fuck yourself, X. We're not going to show up on X. Get rid of that user agreement. That would be devastating to the corporations when millions and millions of people stand up and start making economic decisions that are for freedom, for the benefit of everybody, regardless of who the fuck you are. We start acting like that in mass, folks, and I'm telling you, this fucking round Carl and his flat earth are going to be shocked. I promise you that right now. All right, this is a good little chat. I tried to keep up with the chat room, but it just wasn't easy. Yeah, I don't know about riots right now, but if there's riots, I don't know where they are. I haven't heard anything about riots, so I'll have to take a peek. England has said enough is enough. Yeah. Oh, they are now in riots. You're talking about England. Yeah, I'm sorry. You guys all have yourselves a good night. Round Carl, yeah, bring in, I don't even know. But hang with the flat earth. I mean, we don't want you falling off. Don't walk too far. I know you said you like to walk, so don't walk off the edge. We'd hate to lose you. And until tomorrow, 9 p.m., you all be good. Stay out of trouble. It's your host, Sergeant Friday, with your Ass Hurts News Network.